So next question is, how can I support or encourage men to seek therapy?
I love this question. I will start off by saying that I would say like 90% of my clients are women. Not surprising, right?
No.
And I do have a few, but again, you don't see. I think now we're seeing more men going to therapy now, which is great. But typically, I think men have a harder time when it comes to the expression of emotions, just because a lot of times men from a very young age are told that, the display of emotions, crying is weak, feminine, right? And so a lot of men are taught that we don't really talk about like our feelings, right? And generally speaking, one emotion that is very acceptable, at least in men, is anger. And so you will see a lot of men who will express, maybe you'll be like, man, this guy is like so angry all the time, right? Because that emotion might have been normalized. Like, it's okay for you to be angry as a man, but it's not okay for you to be sad. And so anger is typically a secondary emotion, which means like behind the anger or underneath the anger, there's usually sadness, hurt, rejection, a plethora of other things that might be going on. So how can we support men, or the men in our lives, right, to seek counseling or therapy? Number one, I would say definitely need to have patience, because it's likely very, very uncomfortable for them to even have to even express their emotions, let alone meet with someone they don't know to talk about their emotions and stuff that they have gone through, which can be very foreign for a lot of men. Not everyone, so I don't want to like do a blanket statement, but for a lot of men. And I think, again, just normalizing, normalizing that, and validating like their feelings, like, hey, seems like you might be going through stuff, and I get it. Supporting them, normalizing that whatever they're feeling is valid and okay and justified, and even modeling it for them. Like, if you have a man in your life, a partner, a friend, a brother, whatever, and you have a good relationship with them, and you're able to have like heart-to-hearts with them, and just like be that safe space,
Yeah.
And they always say, when a man opens up to you, do not like shut it down, do not judge them, right? Because it's already difficult enough for them to be vulnerable. So like, you want to make sure you are creating a safe space for them. And again, don't be forceful.
There needs to be willingness.
There needs to be willingness, and you can definitely talk about it. Like, if as a woman you're the one in therapy, or a man you're the one in therapy, you can talk therapy up to the other person. I have a lot of my clients, which I love to hear it. They'll say like, yeah, I'm telling everybody they should go to therapy, right? Because I love it, and so talking positively about the benefits of therapy can also create some curiosity in them, like, oh, maybe it's not so bad, right? And normalizing it. Yeah, like, we just talk. It's not like a big deal. It doesn't mean I'm like crazy or anything. I'm just talking about stuff that's going on, and I get a different perspective or outlook. And that might help. But definitely a lot of patience and compassion should be a part of your support of the men going to therapy, and just very encouraging. So yes.
And if there are any men listening, would you have something like specific to them that you would like to say?
Yeah. Well, I will I'll kind of say this. The men that I do see in practice generally will feel very uncomfortable in the beginning, and that's totally normal and fine. And we'll even talk about like how awkward it is. Like, yeah, let's talk about the elephant in the room. This is weird, right? You're not used to this. Generally over time, my clients, this is what they've told me. So again, I'm not making this stuff up. They've told me that they do find therapy very helpful. That having an outlet is like, wow, I didn't realize that talking about these things really helped me feel better. And again, this is why talk therapy is actually a thing. Just the fact that you are, whatever you've been holding inside and guarding in your heart and not really talking to about anyone, just sharing that with someone in a safe space in itself can make you feel so much better, because it's an outlet where you're not just like letting those things like sit and rot and fester, and then eventually it's gonna come out, right?
Right.
You're annoyed, you're feeling upset about something, eventually it's gonna come out, and it's gonna come out the wrong place and the wrong time. And so, at least based on what my male clients have told me, they look forward to therapy again. You find a good match for you, right? If you feel more comfortable with a male therapist, find yourself a male therapist. If you feel more comfortable, because there are some men that feel more comfortable talking to a woman, that's fine too. There's somebody for everybody. So, you know, I encourage you to just try it. Give it a few sessions. If you don't like it, fine. And if you do, then hey, well, you learned that this might be something that works for you.
I think what you were saying was like not letting it fester. I think that is one of the big things with therapy. It's like they're helping you process these emotions and events.
Yep.
You know, and it's like you're kind of getting feedback.
Yep.
Like, hey, have you thought about it this way? Or you actually did this good. Like, you should be proud of yourself. Like, you know, it's just like different perspectives on how to like let those emotions go through and not stay stuck, you know? So I think that was like a very, very good point.
Yeah. And if it eases your mind to think of it as coaching rather than counseling or therapy, it's along the same lines, right? Like, you're talking about things, and you're gonna have another party, like a third unbiased party, as unbiased as we, try to be, give you feedback and perspective about, hey, have you thought about it this way? Have you thought about, this issue you're having this way? Or have you ever considered this might be connected to something that happened to you before? And again, there's this picture that's on the internet where it's like therapy is like this, and there's like somebody sitting, and there's like a bubble, and it's like their thoughts are like scrambled, and then after therapy is like it's kind of more organized. It's like the same thing. You might come to therapy, your thoughts are jumbled, your feelings are jumbled, and then we just like organize your thoughts, label the feelings, and just like process it, like you said.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Sometimes I go into therapy and I feel like I'm rambling, and I even say like, I'm sorry, I'm rambling, sorry for my scatterbrain. And it's just like, but when we finish the conversations, it's like, oh man, I needed that. Like I got to see this perspective on this, and this kind of got settled out, and this kind of got smoothed over. So it's just like, that's kind of how it helps. It kind of just like smooths everything over. So it's definitely has benefited my life. So
it's the same idea of like when you're driving in your car and you have blind spots. The therapist is there to show you what your blind spots are, so that you don't get into any accidents, so that you don't, right, to keep you safe. Right?
This reminded me of The Croods and Die. Have you seen that movie?
Yes, I have. I love that movie.
Sorry, I'm big on cartoons.